Hey, my name is Sarah, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. That's Jacob. I'm trying different
Hey.
intros. Hey, I'm trying different intros.
I like it. No,
it's
that was
like how I
good. It was a little
phased-
sing-song.
Yeah, like I told you last episode, I
Jingle.
want a jingle. And if I don't get a jingle jangle soon, then you're just going to have to deal with me changing the intro every single week.
Give us a jingle.
A little jingle jangle. What are you drinking or eating this week?
Sarah, I want to bring back the 4-pack of beer.
Okay, I know that last episode, which if you're watching, shocker, we recorded it right before this one. You said bring back cereal.
I'm bringing everything back. I'm bringing everything back.
so
every week I'm going to bring something new back.
Of beer.
The 4-pack of beer. Listen, you go in and you get, I feel like for a while going into the liquor store, getting a couple singles, tall cans, something like that. It's got its time. You can go to the park, that's okay. But a 4-pack of beer, it's not 6. So you're not really hauling that much with you. But a 4, you could drink 2. And guess what? You got 2 left. Put them in the fridge and save them for another day.
Can't you just buy 4 cans?
You could, but I like when they have like the
little
top on them,
Got
or
it.
like they're in that little carrier.
Yeah.
It's 4. There's something just a little cutesy about a 4-pack that I like.
Very cutesy.
And I think that 6-pack, too much.
Yeah, that's
2,
fair.
not enough. 4-pack, you can also share with friends.
That's true for a pre-drink. Like when I buy Corona,
Oh,
I
4-pack's
only
great
ever
for a
drink
pre-drink.
4 of them, and then I'm like, I'm gifting them 2 Coronas, and I don't want to do that.
Exactly. Oh
It's a
yeah,
good
if you're
take.
hosting a pre, you want people to bring the 6-pack because then you wake up the next day and
Yeah.
you have like doubles of
everything.
A ton of different beers. But anyway, that's my PSA for today. What are you drinking or eating this week?
My PSA for today is that everyone's favorite summer fresh dill pickle hummus has a jumbo container at Costco. I hope by the time I'm
Whoa.
recording this, it's okay. So dill pickle
What do you
hummus.
do with that much hummus?
No, dude, I literally bought it like a week ago, and I almost bought 2 because I was like, do I need 2? And Nolan's like, you leave for 3.5 weeks. Like, you literally don't need 2. And I'm
You said
already
challenge accepted.
I'm literally almost down the full tub. I don't know how many calories
Damn.
of dill pickle. Like, literally all I do is sit there and eat.
What do you
hummus
eat it
all day.
with?
Specifically the sweet potato crackers from Costco.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, it's like that's
Those
the
are
perfect
good.
combo. Anyways, that's just my PSA for the world. Go and get it. It's the best if you haven't had it yet.
Amazing.
Shame on
Okay,
you.
no.
Go and try the hummus. It's delicious.
Okay.
And it's so cheap at Costco. It was like $11 for that massive thing, and it's normally
You're paying for that for
$6.
the tiny little thing. At the regular grocery
Literally,
store?
you're paying $6 or $7.
Get out of here.
Crime.
Sarah, what are we watching or reading this week?
I am so excited. Why am I singing so much today? Because everyone, the best franchise of reality television is back. That's right, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. If you've never watched Real Housewives before, take this as your sign to get into Housewives by watching Salt Lake. There's a few reasons why it's the best one to watch. One, now we just started season 5, but there's only 4 seasons, so it's like not as like daunting as like a
If I was
Beverly
going to jump
Hills.
in, could I just jump in or should I start it?
No, you need to start because there's people that get arrested. There's
Oh, okay,
betrayal.
okay.
There's so much that happens, and you need to understand the lore.
Yeah.
The reason there's only a few seasons. 2, they're all ex-Mormon, or they think they're currently Mormon, but they're not. They don't really practice Mormonism.
It's like
But
the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
so the way but like them in their 40s and 50s when they decided
Offshoot.
that they're not Mormon anymore. Actually, some of those people auditioned for Salt Lake and didn't go.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, that's tea. And then the third one is their outfits are ridiculous because they're all new money, and it's a lot of like fake rich, and which is really entertaining. And there's just like some absurd personalities on it. Anyways, watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City on Hayu. That is my second PSA.
Okay, I might jump in on that actually because when we spoiler alert, I appeared in a Sarah Jenkins brand collaboration
Yeah, you
with
did.
Hayu, and honestly, I was like.
You can
it was
see
like
the
a
allure.
reaction thing, and like the first reaction that I gave to one
Was
of
a
these
little
shows,
fake, which
it
is
was like,
fine.
okay, I gotta play it up a little bit, and then I forgot I was doing an ad, and then I was like fully tied into
into
this.
it.
So I was
I
like,
know.
let's get some more episodes, let's get some more series going. So
I
shout
feel
out
like
Hayu.
there's nothing better than watching other people scream at each other and like have all this drama that's like you sit there and you're like, this is such a like pointless problem, but it's like
I like that it's
love
not
it.
mine.
No,
I
exactly.
can just observe it. It's like
exactly. And it's like, you love tea, you need to watch Housewives.
I do.
Anyways,
love
it's
tea.
back. I love it. I'm so happy. And now I want to book a trip to Salt Lake City.
Oh, well, speaking of booking trips, I'm going to book a trip to what I'm watching this week because it's one of my life goals because I've actually never gone to watch an English Premier League game in person. That's bucket list. I don't know if it's going to happen this season or it might be next season, but it's back. It's been back for
What's your team
a
again?
few
I
weeks.
ask you this literally every
Liverpool.
single time. Okay.
Liverpool. I'm a big Liverpool fan. Okay. And anyway, it's that, but then also just fall sports. Sarah, I know you're a sports fan, and sports are coming back. The NHL preseason just kicked off.
The NFL is back.
NFL is back. I'm having a good
Basketball's
time.
coming
I'm having a good
back.
time.
I didn't realize you were an avid. Do you watch hockey?
I watch it here and there. No. But I'm just hockey's like
just
low
like
on
the
my
vibe
sports
of
list.
sports. Oh, like soccer being
Yeah,
back.
you know what I also miss? That's coming back is I miss going to like a Toronto sports bar and just
True.
like
Having something on in
having
the
a four
background.
pack,
Having a
having a
four
four pack, and just like there's something happening. There's
True.
always a buzz in the city. Toronto's a
True.
sports city, and I like that about
It
it.
is. That's true. I like that. What are you listening to?
Okay, this is a big one, Sarah. I'm throwing out. You got to listen to Little Goth Babe. I don't know if you know
You
Goth Babe.
literally bring out people that I swear to God, it could be a year-long bit where
I just
Jacob
make
has
up.
made up artists every single year, and I would just go, great, cool.
No, this
Awesome.
Goth Babe is perfect for like if you want. He's like a guy who lives out of his van in like the Oregon coast, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's also the name of his new album, Oregon Coast, I think. Anyway, he's releasing new music. It's the perfect artist if you want to have like a transition from like a super fun summer into like kind of a cool fall.
Interesting.
His music bridges that gap. New song,
Yeah.
Doug Fir. Go and listen to it. Also,
Okay.
The Beams of My Cottage, Douglas Fir. So I was like, well,
Whoa,
I gotta
wow.
do this. Sarah, what are you listening to this week?
You know, it's fall, I guess. I'm in denial about it because I don't love get it cold, but it's fine. But all that means is that it's time for me to switch from listening to 1989 and Reputation all the time and to switch into
folklore now?
folklore and Evermore. The nice thing about the Tortured Poets department, though, is it crosses all bounds. I feel like there's Sad Girl Fall
Are
songs
you saying
in
the
there.
Torture Post Department is the goth babe of Taylor Swift?
It might be. It might be. Yeah. And so that's how seasons work for me. I'd start listening to Reid more. It's like a cycle. I
Yeah,
should just
yeah.
make a calendar of albums and when I'm
Oh,
listening
you
to them.
should.
Because
Oh, that'd be
that's
fun.
all it would be. I just change my aesthetic and it just changes which Taylor Swift album I'm listening
If
to.
Taylor Swift came out with a Christmas album,
She has come out with a Christmas
Like
album.
in-
How dare you?
Is that
How
true?
dare you? And
Are they
technically-
originals, though? Are they
yes, they
originals?
are. And technically, she could re-record it. And people forget that.
Okay,
so when
should
people
she?
talk
Should
about all
she?
the re-recordings, we are forgetting history.
straight over my head, I had no
Open
idea.
the schools.
Should she? Should she do
Yes, she should.
Taylor's version of?
It's pretty religious though. It's pretty funny because it's when she like really loved God, and so
Okay.
it's pretty funny. You should go listen to it.
I'm going to.
It's
I'll probably listen to it on the way home.
hilarious. It's hilarious. It's
Oh, that's
hilarious.
good. Somewhere you went this week, Sarah.
So for the people that have been around for a very, very long time, thank you for still watching and keeping me a little bit relevant. I used to live beside the Eaton Center once upon a time. And I used to go there literally every single day on my walk home from work. So I used to walk through the Eaton Center. I went twice this week, which I think is like the most I've gone.
Is this packing related?
Yes, it was packing related for my
You're
trip.
not just going to hang out.
No, just like walk around the mall with like a coffee, like
I don't know. The
teenagers
Urban
do.
Eatery is great.
Yeah, I haven't. It's not called the Urban Eatery anymore.
Oh, is it really
It's
not?
called like the Queen's Cross or something.
Oh.
Anyways,
interesting.
all to say is I went twice. The first time my sister and I walked around, I got a freshly squeezed boba juice and a patty. I'm like, this is why people come to the mall. I get it.
Yeah.
I will say I was reminded why I don't like going to the malls because like everything I'd find something I liked, and of course it just wasn't in my size. I'm like, if I'm online, I can just go click next size, whatever. But yeah, I went to the Eaton Center twice, which is 2 more times than I've probably been this entire year.
You know what I like doing for malls? I did this
What?
recently. Order online, pick up to the mall, and then if you have a couple of other things to do,
You can
you have an
just do
excuse to
whatever.
go.
Smart.
And you know you're getting what you
Smart.
want. Because
Yeah,
it's in your size
I just
or
don't
whatever.
normally go to the Eaton Center anymore. Like if I'm gonna go to a mall, like I'll commit and I'll go out to like Sherway Gardens or Square One because they're bigger malls and have more options.
What was the point you made about keeping you relevant though? Off the top of this.
The people that still watch my videos still keeping me relevant. They used to watch my videos when I would go to the mall every single
okay,
day.
yeah, I get the throwback now.
The Eaton
sorry.
Center is not keeping me relevant.
I
The
know. I was
people
like,
who-
where's the tie-in for this?
No, no.
I get it.
Unless
now. I get it.
CF wants to, is that what it's called? Catholic Fairview wants to pay
It
me,
is.
then no. What about you?
Okay, I had to drive across town today, or sorry, the other day I had to drive across town. And if anyone is
And
from
by
Toronto,
town, you mean the city of Toronto? Okay.
yeah, but I live on the southeast side of town.
Okay.
And I had to go to the northwest side
Ooh,
of town.
that took you 2
for
hours?
5 p.m. I know. And get this, the reason why is because I was trying to buy these chairs, surprise,
course you were.
surprise, off
Of
of
course you
Facebook Marketplace. And someone messaged me and they were just like, hey, can you come for between 5 and 5:30? I was like, that's kind of a little annoying, but okay. So I messaged them back and I was like, yep, no problem. And then I would hop in my car and I drove because that was like 10 minutes. I'd leave in 10 minutes to
Yeah.
get across there and so long. And then they didn't get back to me. And I said, hey, are we still good? Like, 15 minutes before as I'm driving close, and they ghosted me. Can you imagine ghosting someone in the city of Toronto, making them drive across the city in rush hour?
Did you at least like find another thing to do out there to like give you a
I
reason?
went and it all comes full circle because this is where I went and bought my 4-pack and some pastel donados at my little Portuguese bakery again. So it wasn't
a total
lost
wash,
cause.
but like that still sucks.
Yeah, but listen, if you're on Facebook Marketplace, don't fucking do that.
Don't ghost.
And if you're the person who did that to me,
whoa,
I'm watching you.
Whoa. What is something that you did?
Sarah, speaking of big city vibes, keeping on the East End, shout out to The Edge. You don't have a lot of like in-person radio
like
show.
the radio station.
You remember like, I know that you went and did this. But
Much
like,
music?
Yeah, like radio stations having little live shows.
Yeah, when they would do like, they'd open the window.
Yeah.
They do that at the Edge still, don't they?
I do indeed. And I had no idea because I ended a training run.
Yeah.
That I was in this really hard training run.
Yeah.
And I ended right outside of the Edge for whatever reason. I got some water and then I turned her took off my headphones and Dear Rouge was playing and I'm like a big Dear Rouge fan.
Oh my God, I love that. It's like they were playing you home.
I know. So I sat down and I enjoyed a little concert and I was like, you know what?
I love that.
I might go to a few more of these.
That's so fun. Okay, they should keep that around because there's not enough of those.
Yeah, and it felt a little nostalgic. Sarah, something that you did this week.
I did a really hard thing that I think proves I've grown a lot as a person, and my frontal lobe is probably fully developed now, and I'm just a better version of myself.
What is it?
It was a Saturday night at home, and I did not order in Uber Eats. I
Whoa.
made dinner, and that's like I'm not
Sarah
even being
Jenkins
sarcastic.
Cooked
I know 3 times this week.
on
Was
a
it the same?
Saturday
Was
night?
it the same meal I cooked all 3 times? Absolutely.
Hey,
but
that counts.
I cooked on a Saturday night when the Thai food was just sitting there. When I'm getting notifications because Uber Eats was like always ordering on a Saturday night, being like 10% off this, that. No,
Yeah.
I ignored it. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I
What did you
cooked
make?
a meal. I just made chicken parm with some pasta, and I had a arugula salad.
Ooh.
I had like a full 3-course meal.
That's huge.
Yeah, I was just, it's growth. It's
Do you know
called
that
growth.
British people call that stuff rocket?
Pardon?
Arugula. I
Rocket?
also say it weird. Arugula? Is that what it is?
Arugula.
Arugula. That's what I say. Anyway, how did you feel at the end of the weekend?
I
Did you
feel like that
healthier?
alone. I don't have to tell you how I feel. We're going to end on how you pronounce arugula. We are here with the Canadian icon that is Alyssa Reid. One of what's so funny is I was watching your TikToks that were like talking about like nostalgia and like everyone being like, oh, I grew up with you and stuff, but like you're not old. So how does that feel?
Thank you so much.
How does it feel when people are constantly like, I grew up listening to you or like whatever, but like you were so young when like all of these like hits came out. Like, is it ever weird to think about like how, I don't know, people like in their late 20s have nostalgia for you, but you're like the same age as them?
Entirely. At first, when I started hearing that, I was like, holy shit, I am ancient. But then I had to like remind myself, okay, like we grew up together.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I was like an
like,
adult when
yeah.
this was happening and they look back and they're like, oh, I remember all that. It's like we're going through it at the same time and together. So I've talked myself down, but when it first started happening, I was like, geez, Louise.
But your career started like pretty young because I mean, like I did a deep dive on YouTube today. I was looking at like the Next Star stuff.
Oh God. Oh God.
How old were you when you were on that show?
On the Next Star, I was 15.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So like, would you say that was like the start of your journey, or was it even before then?
Honestly, before that, I was like one of those kids that was like in a performing arts group from the time that I could talk pretty much. So for me, like my entire life had been music. That was just the first time I'd been in a situation where something was televised or kind of bigger than my living room or a contest.
Yeah.
It was a contest, but it was televised, which obviously like amplified the outcome of like what doing that contest meant. But yeah, that was my first like taste of the real industry, I think.
I was reading the comments and there was people that had watched it. I wasn't the only one watching it in like 2024. There was people that had commented on it like as recently as like a year or two ago saying that you were like the biggest thing to come out of the Next Star. And honestly, I would agree.
Thank you.
Out of like the Next Star. So like there was that, and then just it was crazy like looking like even like a year ago you celebrated like 10 years since some of your biggest hits. Like is it feel like it's been that long that
No.
you've been doing like at all? Yeah, no.
Not at all. I think a lot of that too is like the pandemic stole like 3 years from us. So
sure.
I equate like 3 of those years to like Groundhog Day. But honestly, like it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Like some of these like experiences that I had feel like maybe they were like 3 years ago, not 13 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a weird disconnect, but it's cool.
What were those 3 years like for you? I mean, we've talked to different
Madness.
artists about like how, you know, you can't be performing. Maybe there's a little downtime in writing. What did you get up to?
Therapy.
Yeah, I think all of us probably.
Identity crisis. So my like big like mental health thing during the pandemic, which I talked to my therapist about, was my identity is like so rooted in my career because it's a career where it's your name, it's who you are as a person,
Right.
it's like what you do. So not being able to do that caused this like massive identity crisis, which then caused I'm forgetting the name of it. It'll come back to me in like 20 minutes. My brain is not working today.
It's all good.
But it was like this total like identity crisis and kind of like a existential dread. That's it. It didn't even take 20 minutes.
Look, you're on it. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
So that was my pandemic, was
Just some light existential
and
dread.
Fortnite. I played so much Fortnite.
Oh my God. Well, then, like, so then you come out of that. So you're coming out of existential dread and identity crisis. But, like, after you've been doing this for so long, is it kind of exciting to, like, get to decide what, like, being Alyssa Reid means today in 2024 versus 24? I see, I just did it. 2014 feels like it was 2 years ago.
I know.
Versus 2014. Like, is there some excitement in getting to, like, reinvent yourself a bit?
Yeah. It feels like right now I'm kind of like in an era where I'm celebrating all that like we've done over the years, because obviously like, it takes a village. It's not everyone sees one artist, but there's a massive team of people behind it. So it feels like right now we're all just kind of like celebrating everything and rehashing some stuff. I've been really like playing with like the nostalgia of a lot of my music on socials and kind of refinding my audience and reintroducing a new audience to like my back catalog, as well as like my new music that's coming out, my album I released a couple years ago. So it's been fun. It's just kind of like, I feel like all the pressure's off now and I'm just like having a good time.
Is that on both sides of it? Both, you know, writing, making new music and revisiting some of the older stuff, but then also on the side of performing? Like, what does the performance side look like? Because I know you also have, I think when this is released, you probably played a couple of these dates, but there are a
Like
few
a
dates
big
across
cross-Canada
Canada
tour coming
that
up.
you're touring that are coming up. So what are you looking forward to for those?
Honestly, my favorite part of touring and shows is just like being face to face with people, because like now everything's social media, everything. There's like a new way to connect with people in a way that like I couldn't back when I was in the height of like my music career.
True.
And I feel like it's a lot closer now with people, but there's like nothing like being at a show and actually getting to like meet people, because online I see usernames and profile pictures. So like to actually have that human standing in front of me and like getting to talk and meet them, that's the most incredible thing to me. So
Do you also like, because like you said, you've never been able to like maybe connect with like fans like this before, do you use any influence from like stuff you're seeing on social for how you plan out the shows?
I think it's like fun to look at like lighting and stuff like that and get kind of influenced that way. But as much as I like rehearse things for shows, when I get out there, I do something completely opposite by accident. And so like, I want to say yes, but like I get out there and forget everything that I was going to do.
So then it's a different Alyssa Reid show every time you go to
Pretty
one.
much.
Does
But
that
I
play
love
into
pretty
the
much.
set
I love
list as
that.
well? Or are you like
I like
throwing
to
out some
keep
wild covers?
You know what? I make a set list, and then day of, I'm like, let's take this song out. Let's add this song.
Oh, that's
and my
cool.
poor,
That's fun.
I like that.
but my poor MD is like, oh, okay. Fine, like 5 minutes before the show, he's like, all right, go make the changes.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
But that's really fun, because then if people want to go to like multiple show dates or like see, then they're going to get like something different every time.
Yeah.
That's the
And
best.
it probably keeps it fresh for you too, who's
Yeah.
like interacting, like you just mentioned, interacting with fans in a real life experience, keeping it fresh. Probably is fun for everyone then.
Yeah. Like even like musicians like kind of have like talking points that they want to go to in like shows, and those change every single show because the people change and like the banter changes. So it's even that stuff like that you try and pre-plan a little bit, but it just never like goes as you've anticipated.
I love that. So what do you want people to take away from the shows that you're going to be doing this fall?
I hope that it's like a mix of people that grew up on my music, and also it could be people that have like just discovered my music maybe a year ago or even this month on TikTok, because I've been TikToking like crazy.
I know you're all over my For You page right now.
Sorry.
I love it. No, it's
I'm
a
so
good thing.
sorry.
I love it. That's why it was so funny, because I was already like interacting with all of it, and then we're like, oh, we're gonna get Alyssa for the podcast. I go, perfect. I've been watching all your nostalgia content. It's perfect.
I'm so sorry for flooding your content,
No,
but
it's
also
wonderful.
I'm really glad that it's working.
It is.
But yeah, like I want it to be like a nostalgic experience for people that grew up on it. I want it to just be like a night of like people feeling heard and like their experiences are not theirs alone, and there's other people that are going through tough shit too, and that we're here together and that they've got a community. And I want people to have fun and be reminded of what it was like to be like young and in love in high school. And then my new stuff is a bit more like fun, a little less dark than my Ashes phase. So hopefully it's just like a fun, emotional party night, dancing while crying.
I feel like that's already starting to hit, because I was going through your TikTok earlier as well, and I feel like that's already happening. I know we already talked about it's different online versus in person, but like your TikTok comments are flooded with people being like, oh, I remember this, or yeah, this got me through it. Someone said it got me through a divorce, or this and that. Like, it really hits, you know?
I love that. And I guess getting to like see those people firsthand, you're right, versus like a username. It's like a
Yeah.
human connection.
Yeah.
I love though that you're willing to lean into the nostalgia, because I feel like a lot of artists like don't want to play their number one hits, or they don't like, what is your take on that? Because I feel like sometimes they're like, I don't know, like I'll comment. I went to Zach Bryan, who's like arguably one of like the biggest artists. Like I know it's country, but like he like will refuse to play Something in the Orange, which is one of his like biggest songs ever, because he's like, well, like I don't need to play it anymore. But it's like, that's like sometimes the reason someone was introduced to you and whatever. So I love that you're leaning into it. What's your take on like when artists really don't want to play the songs that like made them big? If you didn't want to play like Satisfaction Guaranteed or something.
I feel like, and I might get some slack for this, but I feel like a lot of artists like kind of feel like this pressure to be young and cool and kind of like the new hot thing. I feel like a lot of artists feel like if they embrace the fact that they've had a long career and that they could be a nostalgia artist, that they're no longer like a new fresh thing that's worthy. And I think it's this like weird line between like people kind of trying to stay relevant almost.
True. No, I agree.
And I think it's a tough place for a lot of artists, but at the end of the day, like what matters is the listeners. Because one, you don't have a show if people aren't coming to it. Two, you don't have a career if people aren't streaming your music. So at the end of the day, like I get to do what I love because people have been there my entire career allowing me to do that. So I'm going to play the songs that people want to hear at my shows because that's what they're coming to see.
Exactly. See, that common sense, like that's like what I would assume would be common sense though. It's like crazy to me when people don't want to play their biggest hits. That's why also I'm like, look at bands like, I mean, let's be real, like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC reinvent themselves every single year, and they're playing the same stuff from the 90s, but it doesn't matter. They can still sell at a stadium.
And even then, like, I know it's so shit, but like they're putting out songs, but when like Backstreet's Back comes on, like that's the one that like everyone goes wild. Like it is what it is. Like you can't fight your big songs. You're never gonna like
that's true,
climb Mount Everest again. So celebrate that you climbed it.
I mean, to be honest, like I mean, I've seen Taylor Swift in concert multiple times, and like it's still like You Belong With Me, Love Story, and Shake It Off are still the three like songs that every Taylor Swift show that people scream the loudest to, and that's still like the biggest artist in the world. And like she's someone that's like every tour she's always played You Belong With Me and Love Story because they're her two biggest songs, and it's always the one that's like deafening. So it's like no one's too good, I think, to like go back and listen to their old stuff.
At the same time, you teased it a little bit that like you're working on and releasing new music coming up. So like what does that era look like then?
Honestly, it's all over the place right now because I'm just like, oh, I like this. Let's put this out. Oh, I like this too. But in the studio, I'm like, I don't really like want to stick to a sound right now or a particular project. So let's just like make music we like. So honestly, like the new music is kind of very genre bending, but the next single that I'm putting out, I can say it lives in like a more like upbeat pop disco world.
Ooh,
which is
that.
very not something I've done before, but it's fun, and so I would like to put it out.
Is that part of like the nice thing though about like streaming and stuff and just like music not being so like binary just to like albums and EPs now, is that you can be like, oh, I want to do this, and then you could release it, well, probably not tomorrow because I'm sure like there's other million steps like that you have to do, but that you can just kind of be like, I want to try this out. You can just put it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, and honestly, like the way the music industry has kind of evolved over the years, albums don't really matter anymore unless you're Beyonce or Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily true for other genres, but in pop, I've found it's very true. It's a lot more beneficial to just keep putting out singles consistently than to spend a year working on a body of work and then put out that body of work for it to live on a New Music Friday for 1 week and then disappear into the void.
Well, I mean, you even see it. Sabrina Carpenter just put out a new album, and like even that, I only know like the singles off of it. Like I know people are listening to it, but you're right. People don't listen to like albums really top to bottom.
No.
What are you listening to these days that's influencing this new sound?
I'm actually not listening to music lately.
Oh, really?
Because I got so burnt out writing songs that now all I listen to is like audiobooks and murder podcasts.
Oh, yeah?
I love that. No, but like something so different so you can have like, because that's work for you.
It's tough if I'm like in the studio all day listening to music, then to go home and like listen to more music on the drive home. I'm like, please, silence. Absolutely not.
That's true, because it's a job for you.
Yeah.
It's different. It's it's some people's escape. It's the same as like when people are in TV shows or whatever, they don't watch themselves or they don't watch TV or whatever it might be because it's like too much. It's like your getting away is murder podcasts and audiobooks.
That's my ear break.
So maybe not listening to then, unless it is murder podcasts that are like influencing the sound with some like deep samples or something like that.
That'd be sick.
But from a writing perspective then, is it that existential dread that's going to come out in your new body of work, or is it...
I feel like it really, really came out in my Ashes album, and I am at a point now where I feel a little bit more like at peace and more aware of the situation. And of course, like the second you're aware of something, you have more power in it. So I feel like my new music is gonna be more fun and happy, which is so weird for me because like I am just like not like a bubbly pink happy person outwardly. I am internally, but like everyone thinks I hate them for some reason for like the first like at least 20 minutes of a conversation, just because I just like don't exude like bubbly. But I feel like this music is kind of a lot of that like fun, happy, like I just want to dance in my kitchen kind of vibe. So
I love that.
We're putting away like emo Alyssa for a couple songs at least.
So then on the tour,
no one's hurt me yet.
No one's
hurt me yet
since the last one. In the tour, is it going to be like a little whiplash for you? Like you're going to be like all over the place with it, or what?
I've kind of like positioned the songs in a way that it takes you on a bit of like an emotional journey. So it starts off with like a tiny bit of like fun and nostalgia, then goes into like a little dark kind of creepy vibe for a minute, and then comes out of it with a medley of songs that I wrote for other artists. And then I'm literally walking through the whole show. You still please have to come.
Well, apparently it's going to change every night.
It's going to change.
It's going to change every night. So.
And then we like finish with like the bangers.
I love that. Is it fun for you to play songs that you wrote for other artists? Is it something you've done before?
I just started on my last couple shows. I've never done that at all in my career.
Were any of the songs that you've written for other artists originally songs that you thought, oh, that might be my song, and then it ended up in the hands of someone else? Or?
No, because it all just like happened in the studio. I don't think there was anything that I brought in that I would have kept for me. There was one song that I brought in for Virginia to Vegas that I had originally pitched to Dan Talevsky. Do you remember him?
No, I don't.
He had a really, really big song on Canadian radio. So I had originally pitched it to him because he has incredible vocals and I thought he would crush it. And it just didn't land with him. And then I brought it into the Derek session. And then once we all just got in the room and like ironed it all out, it just ended up fitting really perfectly for him.
What song was it?
Selfish.
I love that
Banger.
song.
Thanks.
What always happens, and it's gonna, because I've been listening to your music all day too, it happens every single time, and I do it to myself, is like an artist like comes on the pod, and like Derek was an example of this, and I like know their music, but then I do like a deep dive after, and now like Virginia Vegas is gonna be in my top 5 listened to on Spotify this year, because like, We Are Stars is gonna be one of them too, probably, but it's just so funny. So like it'll be the same with you. It'll be like all of your catalog is now gonna show up in my Spotify rap
Thank
the next
you.
year.
You're
It's
going to
like,
be like my top fan.
I honestly, because that's what always happens, because then it's like we chat and then I'm like, oh my god, but it's funny because I actually had a question about that, because like you guys like also grew up on the scene together, and then now he's on a greatest hits tour, and you're both laying into that nostalgia. Like, is it fun to also have like colleagues in the space and see that you're all like in this like place of really appreciating the past decade of your careers?
Yeah, and I'm also label mates with Sean Desmond. He's had like the most incredible couple years.
Insane.
And it's really nice to see good people in the industry winning. And it's nice to see that even like after all this time, knowing that we're in a career that's so kind of disposable and has such a short shelf life, it's really nice to see friends like still like kicking it and still being able to like do what we love, because like at the end of the day, there's no job that you could put me in or Sean in or Derek in that will fulfill us as much as what we're doing right now. So to be in a position where we've got to do it for this long is so incredible.
And also as like Canadian artists too, because also like I used to work in Canadian radio. It's like the landscape's changed in the way that Canadian artists
So
also,
much.
it's so
Yeah.
different. So to have that longevity like should be celebrated, because you're right, now you're on it like today's top hits playlist, as opposed to trying to get on like a countdown show on Virgin, which is really interesting. So being able to like have that many people that you grew up with like also being celebrated is really exciting. I love that. It's a great time in Canadian music too.
I agree.
So we know that your shows are going to be, your new music is going to be a little chaotic. It's going to be all over the place, which we love. Your shows are going to be like different every single night. But if it's somebody that's like maybe listening to this being like, oh my God, I remember Alyssa Reid, and like you're trying to like convince them why they should see you on the back half of this Canadian tour, what would you say to them?
I would say if you can go listen to my music and it relates to you in any way, any of the songs, because I feel like my music is very personal, a little bit like deeper than most pop music, a little more honest. If you've ever listened to a single one of my songs and related to them or felt heard in any way, that my show is the perfect place for you, because it's filled with hundreds of other people that get you. And I would encourage people to just come for a fun night where they're around like-minded people.
I love that. That feels like a safe space too.
Yeah.
Like therapy.
Yeah.
In real life. That's
But
the
like
best.
you get to scream at the top of your lungs.
The best.
Yeah.
The best way to do it. Well, I'm so excited for you. I'm so sad I'm traveling and cannot come to the show, but I will definitely, the Toronto show at least, but I will definitely catch you at another one. Jacob, you should go and FaceTime me.
I'll just
while
FaceTime the whole show for you.
Yeah. Like literally live stream it actually. Actually, no, do you want that? Probably not. Just FaceTime me and we won't live stream it, because publicists in the room should be like, no, you're not allowed to do that. Thank you so much. Where can people find you if they're looking for you and your music and your great social content? Because you're a creator now.
Apparently, allegedly. Most of my social media is just under my name, Alyssa Reid.
The best. Sweet and simple. Don't forget it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. And thank you to you for listening to yet another episode of Talking Fast. You can catch us every single Wednesday, wherever you listen to this or watch it on YouTube. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.